The year was 2003. The Terminator became the governor of California. Then the Hatfield and McCoy supposedly made peace. MySpace was on the scene, and so was Homeland Security, which really makes me wonder, was MySpace started to make DHS's job easier? I don't know. We won't ever know. Well, probably. A lot of tea has been spilled this year, but we probably won't ever know that. I truly can't go down that rabbit hole, so let's stick to this movie, which is full of its own holes. Holes is a movie that is known for being an enjoyable film that also contains a lot of deep themes. It touches on certain topics that typically were avoided or, not explored by the Walt Disney franchise. And so a lot of people are wondering, like, how did we get here? How did it get produced? Like, we love it, but we just like, huh? Question mark? So there was a main story with the boys of D-Tent, the staff, and the warden of Camp Green Lake. The cure for shoe stink was also being solved throughout this film. Just, one of the greatest mysteries that we got to witness being solved. You had the lady who was robbing people out of revenge after she fell in love with the black man when it was illegal for him to kiss her, but the reverse was not illegal. I actually didn't know the actress's name before I started this Rewatch Rewind for Kissing Kate Barlow. Patricia Arquette. She is the one who plays that character. And, while we're here, we'll go ahead and talk about the rest of the stacked cast. Shia LaBeouf plays Stanley. John Voight is Mr. Sir, and he's that character on and off film, meaning he stayed in character throughout the duration of filming. Dual Hall plays Sam. Tim Blake Nelson is cast as Dr. Pendanski, and lastly, Sojourner Weaver plays the warden. If you did not know, the movie's runtime is around 40 minutes when the warden enters her first scene. Despite her late entrance, she has been mentioned a few times. From all the talk we understand, she's a woman who's not to be messed with. Like, don't play with her. Avoid her at all costs if you can. When she does have her reveal, she does not disappoint. So I'll just quickly set the scene for you, or remind you if you haven't seen the film in a while. X-Ray, which is Brendan Jefferson's character, is taking credit for finding a tube of lipstick while digging. So it was actually, I want to say Stanley who found the tube, but if you find something while you're digging, you get a reward for it. And he's like, yo, I've been here for a while. I'm about to take credit for this. You don't deserve any special privileges. You just got here, buddy, okay? So he alerts the staff, and then they alert the warden of this discovery. She's like really into the lipstick, which at this point of the movie, they really haven't revealed why there's so much interest in what they're digging up. But she's excited, and she instructs the doctor to refill the canteen for every boy at the camp. And he says, hey, I already did that. I already took care of it. Instead of her saying, oh, that's really great. I'm really glad you were proactive and taking care of these young men. Thank you for being on top of everything. It's great to know that I have staff who, are going to take care of things. I don't always have to ask them to do it. They're going to take care of it. Nope. This is her response.
Excuse me?
I had already filled them when you drove up in the car.
Excuse me? Did I ask you when you last filled them?
No, you didn't, but...
Excuse me. Now, these fine boys have been working hard. Don't you think it just might be possible they have taken a drink since you filled their canteens? May I have your canteen, please? Can you hear the empty spaces?
Yes, I can hear.
Fill it. If that's too much trouble, you can grab a shovel and caveman here can fill the canteens.
Can you hear the empty spaces? Like, it's just hilarious. Definitely one of my favorite scenes of the movie. So let's get into the background about the film. This movie's director is Andrew Davis, who also directed The Fugitive. And I'm not 100% sure if The Fugitive is considered a classic, but it definitely is a great film. It's not the same genre or vibe of Holes. So if you have not seen it, just set no expectations. Just go into it, not really expecting anything, and I think you'll enjoy the ride because there are some twists and turns in that film. Holes is an adapted movie from the book of the same title, which was written by Louis Sachar. He was inspired to write the book after he moved to Texas with his family. So going from San Francisco's cool, almost perfect weather, as I've heard it's really great out there, stays in the 70s, all that jazz, to Texas's dry heat, like I'm about to take you out. If you step outside, the sun it's brutal. It was enough to plant the seed for him to get started on the novel. I think a lot of credit can be shared with Sachar, who helped write the screenplay for the film. And I can't speak for everyone, but I do think a lot of times, at least from doing these rewatch rewinds, that when the screenplay is written or the author has some kind of hand in the screenplay or the role development of the film, that the spirit of the story stays much more intact. Like, not as many questions and what were you thinking? Like, it's not a lot of those when the original creator is involved. But of course, if there's some incidents where this wasn't the case, make sure to leave that information in the comment section. So Holes was shot in Ridgecrest, California, and this location was perfect for the film. It had exactly what they needed to have that dry environment, but it did come with its challenges. The crew had to take extra precaution for safety measures, and they also had to prepare the boys to be in that type of climate and to be filming in.
Boot camp. It's crazy. We had to go to boot camp because physically, to be in Ridgecrest where we were shooting, where it's 156 degrees ground level in the holes, you got to be in shape. And so they hired our stunt guy, Mr. D.
Mr. D.
Yeah, he was a trainer. He was kind of tough.
Yeah, he was
kind of tough.
He would trick us into, we had to pick a number between 1 and 10.
Yeah.
And then he would say, okay, 3. If you say 4, it'd be 4-minute run, let's go.
Yeah, and then if you say, all right, pick a number through 1 to 30. And if you say 2, all right, 2-second rest. And just give you a 2-second rest, and you're like, all right, 50 push-ups, and it'll just be incredible. We have to, it'll be crazy.
We'd have to climb up a rope, and we did shovel drills. And when you're shooting in a place like that, it's almost like Mars, Nobody's used to what's gonna happen. Nobody knows what's gonna happen. There's dust tornadoes going on every 5 minutes. There's whiteouts, the sand gets it gets thrown in the air and then you can't see anything.
I can honestly appreciate the film more knowing the background of what the crew and cast went through during this production. It was low-key kind of brutal. You can tell they had a good time on set because all these years later, it's actually 20 years later, there was a lot of love at the reunion. They did do a reunion, and I will include that in the description box for you to check out. And I mean, honestly, it's just oh man, I wish I would have known. I would have loved to go into something like this, but I'm not on the internet like that, and this is the reason why I need to be on the internet, so I can participate in cool things like this. But I just always find out about them way after the fact. This is the segment where I like to rate the films on its nostalgia and how it holds up. And we got a 5 out of 5 today. This film definitely earned its 5 out of 5 ice creams. I really enjoyed how all the different generations tied together throughout the movie. It has some great storytelling and memorable quotes. I also think the casting is great. One of the beauties about this film is that it is a book that, some schools still have in their curriculum. So, the kids, they're forced to read the book, and then they find out that there's a movie, and it's bam, you got some new fans, you got some new people who are interested in this movie and book all over again, which I think is pretty cool in its own right. Redditors talked a lot about how this book helped them love reading, and the soundtrack for the movie helped them get into different musical genres. So this film feels impactful in more ways than one. So, like I already mentioned, it's been 20 years since this movie came out. 2023 was its 20th anniversary, and there are several themes in this movie that, you know, I still think are important today. Like the portion of, you know, just generational impact, like how a choice that someone from your generation, your great grandmother could have done that impacted your grandmother, impacted your mother, and then now has effect on you today. I think that's really an important theme, and I don't think this film feels dated at all. You can still watch it today and still feel like there are some movies where it's just like, okay, like this definitely was for that time piece, like this, you know, certain things in the culture we don't say anymore, we don't address anymore, and I don't think this film feels dated at all. I feel like you can watch it now and still have a blast. I can't do this rewatch rewind without noting the number one line from this movie, so let's go.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa. That's too damn bad!
That man was stressed, like he was so stressed. But to this day, me and my cousin still quote "that's too damn bad." Like I said, there are just some memorable quotes in this movie. And like, I just want to know, is anybody else after all these years still quoting some lines from this movie? I appreciate you so much for going on this journey with me back to 2003, revisiting holes. If you enjoyed this Rewatch Rewind, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Of course, let me know the things that you love about this movie in the comment section. Thanks for stopping by.